All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the players. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is Eric, hailing from Pensacola, Florida. I met Eric several months ago. He came to Houston. I say several months ago. I think it was late last summer. He came to Houston, met him at a draft. He was learning to play the game, had a blast getting to know him a little bit. Going to be good times to check him out. Check him out. Check out his deck today. See what he's up to. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can be looking at JD. JD's from Biloxi, and he is going to be on Palpatine Yellow today. Eric bringing Han2, our red aggro Han with ECL. So let me get to the right button here, and we're going to do a little bit of that. Oh, that did not update. Why did you not update? Let's try again. I literally just went through this. All right, well, some things updated and some things didn't, so give me a moment while I go back and finish some setup things. Obviously, some things took and some things didn't, but it matters because it impacts certain other things. So let me finish reprogramming this. There we go. Now we've got it. Okay. We're already a little behind here. I apologized for getting everything done. Obviously, the round timer has started, so we're probably a few minutes off of that. Zine swings in here. Han's going to play a Cassian early and then knock her out. All right. And going to chime in with a Sabine. And then JD's actually on the button. I'll fix that here in a moment. There we go. Looks like JD resupplied that turn. So he's a resource ahead, which is typical solid play. And then we added a clone deserter as well on Han's side of the board. Nice little one drop. All right, we're going to Traitorous on Sabine. Not totally. It's a pretty common. I would say a fairly common play. It's not an uncommon play from Palpatine. Palpatine likes stealing your units and either sacrificing them with his game text or throwing them back at you or something along these lines. Eric's going to trade his own Cassian into his own Sabine, which feels terrible, but I mean sometimes you got to make bad decisions in this game. I won't say bad decisions. Let's say uncomfortable decisions there. Going to get a red 3 and then swing in for 3 onto Palpatine there. And restore 1. Oop. We are in round 2. I need to go back and fix that. There we go. All right. I'm going to ambush in with the lackeys. That was a very, very popular card back in set 1. You don't see it as much anymore, but still a really, really good one. A 5-drop, 5-4 ambush. Takes out a lot of different things. That can take out a Sabine, for example. Red 3 swings in for 3 more. JD doesn't have an answer in space at the moment. Probably wishing he had saved the Traitors for the red 3. Han's going to deploy. He's a 3-6. JD claims. And now Eric on 5 resources in his leader on the board. Kind of free to run the board here. See what he does with it. Still sitting on ECL. Checking his resource row just to see what he's got down there. We know he's got Cassians in the deck. Always the possibility one of those is lurking down there. Deck like this... No, he wouldn't have the blasters. He's not on yellow. Eric kind of carefully thinking through here. Not totally surprised. Got to make sure he makes the right play here. All right, so he's going to play an Adelphi a little ahead using Han's ability, and that Adelphi allows him to swing in. Let's get this correct here. So he uses Han's ability to cheat out the Adelphi. That's why, wrong player. That's why it has 2 damage on it, right? And then he swings in for extra damage with Han to clear the Syndicate lackeys and leave him with a A wide board, and nothing on the board for JD. Now we're getting close to Palpatine's big coming out party. We are on the 7 resource turn here for JD. Should be the 6 resource turn for Eric on the left. JD running a bit ahead. Played that resupply earlier. JD on the button, gets the first action. Thinking carefully here. He's got a lot of potential incoming damage this turn. He needs to navigate this turn very, very carefully. That red 3 looming large with a board this wide. He's got a 5-drop. That's another Lackeys. He's going to trade into Sabine. Han swings in for 4. 2 more resources for Poggle. Red 3 going to swing in for 3. And then the Adelphi's going to swing in for 5 big ones. Already 18 damage on the base for JD. Clean base for Han2 green. It's an interesting... This is not a deck that... not a deck that you would have expected to see. I was talking to Eric a little bit about this earlier. He came up to me. He was surprised to see me here, I think. There's a Cassian smuggled out of the resource row. Coming in ready with that red 3 on the board. That is 4 more damage. That's a good play with red 3 sitting out there. I love this. 4 more. He's just going straight for the jugular. He knows he's going to be looking at Palpatine next turn. He's probably going to lose... He's going to lose something. He can't lose his leader to Palpatine, but he very well might lose that Adelphi. Hera did lose 2-0, unfortunately, Gabrielle, but it was a good match. The second game in Hera really surprised me. I had a good conversation with Scotty after that game. He and I are both of kind of the same opinion, right, that Hera's just kind of maybe right on that cusp. Right on the cusp. Maybe a couple of cards, couple or 3 things, and that would be a much more solid deck. I'm more sold on Hera Green now than I used to be. I'll be curious to go home and mess around with that, maybe build it myself and put it through its paces. All right, big turn for JD here. He's got a lot of threats to answer. He's got to navigate this pretty carefully. He took a ton of damage to the face last round. All right, we're starting with an overwhelming barrage. So let's see how he assigns the damage here. He's got 7 to spill out. There's 4, 5. Clears Han. 6, 7. 2 more on the red 3. Looks like he might want to try and either steal the red 3 or murder it with Palpatine. He's got the resources to just kill it and draw a card. Eric probably wants to swing in with either it or Cassian now to get that raid advantage. Cassian would put him on 4 HP. Cassian's the bigger hit. Eric clearly thinking through, talking through his options there. Going with the Cassian. I like this play. Just, he's been pushing damage. He's just going to keep at it. 4 HP left for JD here. Palpatine coming out and stealing the red 3. Not shocking, really. Eric's gotten a lot of good work out of that red 3, though. He got it in at least twice, and he got one good round where he had a very wide board and got lots of good raid damage out of it. Probably a good, I don't know, 7 or 8 damage out of that one card alone. Now it's JD with the wide board, and Eric kind of trying to figure out how to close the game out here. He's only got 4 HP to deal to JD's base. No ready units. And Han's exhausted. So anything he brings in this round, unless he uses either ECL or a timely or something like that, cannot come in ready. Now, of course, ECL would only allow him to attack into a unit. So he would need something with overwhelm. K2SO, for example, or a wrecker. Am I seeing 6 resources? That sounds like it smells like a wrecker. It is. So by the time we blow up the lackeys, and it looks like we pushed through 2 more damage. I've got to get the right card up here. Give me a moment. I apologize. There's Wrecker. There we go. Royal Guard coming in. Fabulous, fabulous card out of set 1. 3/5 Sentinel for JD. I think Eric has not claimed yet. At least the marker hasn't moved. He's going to push Palpatine in and kill Wrecker. Take a whole bunch of damage back. And then use his ability to finish off and get rid of the red 3. But I mean, Eric only has one. He only needs one action. As soon as Cassian readies, as long as if Eric's on the button, now the marker hasn't moved. I think Eric took initiative, and they simply didn't move the token. I believe that's what's happened. Maybe not. A reckless gunslinger. Oh, I'm off. I'm 1 off. There we go. He's going to smuggle the gunslinger out, and then that's the game. So yeah, there we go. Almost a clean victory there for Eric. Only a handful of damage there at the end of the game. As we're headed to game 2. Plenty of time left on the timer. I think I'm a few minutes off. The timer is probably about 2 minutes behind reality, 2 to 3 minutes. But with a deck this quick, I don't think it's going to matter. We'll see how it goes. Both players headed to their sideboards now. Now, one of the reasons, we mentioned this earlier in round 1, I'll say it again for the benefits of folks coming in. I'm going out of my way to not show decks and sideboards in between games because that is information that the players should not have, and anybody could theoretically watch the stream and see that, right? You're not allowed to see deck lists and that sort of thing anymore until the top 8. And by the time we get to the top 8, my intention is that I will have screenshots for all the various decks in the top 8, and I will be able to talk about that in between game, talk about sideboard options and that sort of thing. Oh, Seraph. Chat going on about he loves seeing Palpatine lose. Man, let me tell you something. Your faith in your friends is yours. It warms my heart to see Palpatine getting played at all. He's one of the more challenging leaders in the game, in my opinion. Not impossible, just one that he plays very differently, right, than most, I think. And while I like that about him, he does lead to some pretty significant challenges. All right, sideboard's complete. Game 2 inbound as we shuffle up and cut. I would love to hear the conversation they're having now. Getting audio off the table is something that I'm still working on. I have the tech to do it. I brought it with me. I was talking about this with some of the guys earlier. JD going straight for the mulligan, like, nope, this is not a hand. Eric's hand looking pretty good. He's got an A-wing over there to get things started, and some other cards that didn't quite see what he resourced. He's got, is that 2 wreckers in hand? Oof. But I've got the tech to mic up and get audio off the players on the table, and I decided I wasn't going to mess with it in Swiss. I may try it in the top 8. I haven't spent enough time working with the mic setup that I brought and getting levels adjusted and everything, and I kind of didn't want to do that on the fly. I'm trying to innovate this setup in bits and pieces and not try to do too much at once, which generally leads to failure. You can see the base and heroes. You can see the bases and heroes. So here are your leaders for each side. Han allows you to cheat things out a little cheaper. Palpatine allows you to murder units and draw cards. He deals, I say murder units. Notice just straight up defeat a unit. Yep. And then the bases, on the right, it's just a straight yellow 30-point base. And on Eric's side of the map, we have the solid energy conversion lab that allows you to ambush units out. Seeing Bazine early again as we get into game 2. That allows JD to have a look at Eric's hand and throw something away, but he has 2 really good turn 1 plays there. He kept an A-wing. He's got an A-wing, a red 3, and a Battlefield Marine. He's going to ditch the Wrecker, try to play the long game. I'm curious if that's going to come back to bite him. I almost feel like if he's not careful, he may find himself swarmed off the board with that many early plays, but let's see what happens. Eric, obviously, his question is he going to go high or low? He's going to go low. Going for the Battlefield Marine so he can knock Sabine around, or Bazine, excuse me. I think I might have gone A-Wing there, but I don't dislike this play. No, Bonds, it's a good point. Was that a McClunky? That is not a card I expected to see in a Palpatine deck, but that's exactly what it was. McClunky coming in and clearing out the Battlefield Marine. And another Bazine, straight for the hand hate here. Going to throw away a Poe this time. That hurts for sure. Han getting an R2 onto the board. Allows him to help filter the top of his deck a little bit. Oh, and the red 3. Oop. So R2 is a 1/2 unit with raid 1. It's a little odd, but, I mean, Bazine can't kill him, so, you know, that's kind of nice. Now, JD hasn't had a chance to ramp, but he's also not quite so far behind. He was kind of getting smacked around a little early last game. This game, he's managing the early game pretty well. There comes the P34, or P38, excuse me. Throw a damage onto the red 3. R2 going into base. Filter the deck a little bit. There's our first base damage of the game. First blood going to Eric. Ah, Palpatine. Rude. Murders his own unit, draws a card to kill red 3. And now it's a pair of A-Wings coming in for Eric. That's going to be that damage can add up very, very quickly for JD. He's going to be looking for an overwhelming barrage, some other kind of way that he can clean those units out. But he's got some work to do there. Okay, so we're going Merciless Contest. Means that both sides have to murder a guy. R2 takes the hit for the team there as one of the A-Wings swings in to JD's base, and then he's going to no good to me dead the other one. So he's going to lock one down for a bit. Han's going to hit the board. These guys are quick. I'm having a hard time keeping up with them. Han's going to come in and hit the base for 3 more. As we back him up on the board with a Poe. Poe Dameron, of course, one of the big cards coming out of set 2, a really, really solid Hero Red. So many good cards in Hero Red. It's one of the reasons Sabine stays so good, obviously. So many good support cards around her. Eric still has ACL available if he needs it. 6 resource turn for both players coming in. And now we're looking at a change of heart on Poe. Ladies and gentlemen, that is rude. I love it. That is so rude. Now, he only gets it for the round, but it is still rude. He gets to do mean, mean, mean things with that card. Poe, for example, can just murder Han. That's exactly what he's going to do. Knock him out. Knock him right off the board. He's going to discard a no good to me dead to deal 2 damage to the ready A-Wing. He's going to swing in for 3 more. And then I'm betting we're going to see... No, he can't use Palpatine's actions because he's out of resources. Han has his entire resource pile available. What are we going to do? Going to smuggle in a Cassian. 3 to base. Now, at the end of the round, the Poe's going to come back across the board. Change of heart does not last forever. It lasts for the turn. Looks like JD has claimed. So Poe returns to its quote-unquote rightful place. Kind of a mirror of last game. A very nice wide board for Eric here. No red 3 to take advantage of it this game, but I don't think he's complaining when he's over halfway home here on Palpatine. 7's got to be a Vader. No, it's a CAD. Ho, ho, ho. But now it's got some difficult choices to make about who is he going to capture and who's he going to leave. He gets to capture 3 units. Those will sit under CAD If CAD attacks, one of those units can be returned, or, of course, if CAD ever dies, those units come back normally. Big 7-drop in JD's deck. He needed that to thin the board out. Eric's going to just go straight to base with Cassian before something untoward happens to him. Now, I'm curious. I think I'm with you, Chad. I think the CAD is going to get wrecked. That's exactly what's going to happen right here. Now, it does save JD a little bit of time because all those units will come back exhausted. So we're going to throw away a resource. We're going to deal 5 to CAD. We're going to ambush and trade, and it's going to be 5 overwhelm damage on the base, as well as the return of all of those units. So CAD's moment of glory is somewhat short-lived here, but it does buy JD a little time, but I think in the end, it's not going to matter a lot. Looks like JD's claimed, and we're on to Palpatine's big turn, but is it going to matter? He needs to have an answer for Poe right now, and it looks like JD's just going to scoop it up. Whew. Quick match, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness gracious. Well, a 2-0 win for Eric. Looking good on Han2 ECL here in the early going of the day. That was that was a much faster match. I agree, Seraph. Now, it's interesting, we were talking, I was talking to Eric briefly between rounds. I didn't let him know I was going to be streaming this game. I wait until the matches are set, and then I go inquire. But, we were talking between rounds. Eric had a very tough matchup last round. He was playing Anakin Blue, right? And, of course, Han brings in units damaged. Anakin wants to be attacking into units. That's quite literally his ability and the way he works. And he basically said he had won that match, but it was something that he had to navigate through and play very, very carefully.